Hollywood produces a lot of garbage, honestly, a lot of feminism, a lot of just things that brainwash young men and young women, and even men in their 40s, women in their 40s, even doesn't matter what age you are, but especially the youth. The youth are the most like especially like a child's mind, like a 5 year old's mind, like a sponge, right? So like if a 5 year old is watching a lot of LGBTQ people like Peppa Pig or something, which I like. I remember seeing that someone was watching it at like a family gathering, and I could see a kid was watching that, and then there was like some trans or something. I can't remember what, but like, and that was in Peppa Pig. They just snuck it in, Like there's a lot of garbage in a lot of Western media, TV shows, movies, but there's also a lot of like very deep, amazing movies. They don't really make them now, not as much. I mean, like, and even in those deep movies now, they still have some like woke propaganda. Like there'll be some like one trans actor they like sneak in, like in the Odyssey, or like an amazing deep movie. Just and like actually, I can't say this about any other movie. Even like The Dark Knight I rate probably like 9.2, 9.5, and but the Odyssey actually 10 out of 10. It's gonna move my fan. Shouldn't be able to hear that, but yeah, but literally like with Christopher Nolan definitely is my favorite director of all time. His movies are just like he's consistently made banger after banger. The whole Batman Begins, the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight Rises. So let's talk about that, right? The Dark Knight Rises, massive lesson from that movie, and that's actually my favorite movie of those three because it's the comeback that Bruce Wayne, that Batman makes, right? Bane defeats him. He literally breaks his back. His body is broken. He's done. Like he shouldn't be able to come back. There's no way. He puts him in this pit, in this massive hole, this prison where all these other men are. Uh, a lot of other dangerous men, of course, and then it looked like there were some men who are probably falsely accused there, or maybe I don't know. Or they did, they just changed a lot in prison. From the men. There was like two men Bruce spoke to in the prison. There was like a doctor and then another man helping Bruce a bit. He put him first thing Bruce had to do in the prison is to learn to walk, to learn to stand again. I was gonna say walk again, but standing, and he had to be like in this like harness. And the man was like, and Bruce, he put Bruce in it, and Bruce is like hunched over like that in this harness thing in pain, and he's like, you stay like that until you stand, and that's it. So he has to stand first, and then be able to walk, and then build his strength back up, and then make this climb and get out of prison. I'm sure you've seen the movie, but yeah, that movie has such an amazing comeback, and then when he finally comes back to Gotham, and him and Bane like they see each other in the midst of all the chaos, everyone's fighting in the streets of Gotham, and then they spot each other, and then they're fighting, and then Batman has Bane down, and and Bane says to him, like I defeated you, like how did you come out? And Bruce said something like, you're not the only one who's special, something like that. And then Bane told him, but I didn't make it out. I didn't make it out, you know. And then of course, Miranda Tate and then stabs Bruce in the back, who then we find out was Talia al Ghul, and obviously tries to kill him because he killed her father, obviously Ra's al Ghul, and yeah, but yeah, what an amazing comeback story, like completely his body is broken, he's done, he's seeing Gotham burning. There's like a tiny TV in prison, and he's seeing Gotham just burn. Like he's seeing his whole city, everything. That's his city. He's supposed to protect it. He's the Batman, He's Gotham's protector. He's not the one. He's not the hero they need. He's the one they deserve. Right? And he's just seeing all crumble, and he has to first learn to he's firstly in this hole. He can't even he doesn't even know where he is, and his body's. Imagine your body is broken, his back is done, and he doesn't even know where he is. He has to get stronger first. He has to be able to stand first, then strengthen his body, and then make this enormous climb, this huge jump, and yeah. So and then he does it, and Bane is just it blows Bane's mind, of course, right? Yeah. Rocky, of course. Rocky is probably one of the most well-known movies ever. Absolutely, an amazing story of the underdog, right? This Italian stallion, that the big time heavyweight champion gives a shot to, and he proves himself amazingly. Like there's a scene in Rocky where he's laying in bed with Adrian, And he says that, all I wanted to do was go the distance. I just want to prove myself, And then he finally gets that shot, he finally gets that chance. Because if you know boxing, if you know about the fight business, I think it's more so boxing, but still fighting in general, MMA as well. Like, there's so many guys, like some Dagestani guys as well, that will like choke the heck out of like Colby Covington, Leon Edwards, but they never get that shot. Like it's crazy, super, super, super hard to actually get to that. Because the thing is, you can have all the talent, right? You can be super, super talented. You could be a Moses Itoma, right? If you know who that is, he's 21 years old. He's an amazing, amazing heavyweight fighter, and like he's like that boogeyman of a fighter in like a Rocky movie or something, or a Creed movie. He's like that kind of fighter. That's kind of what he reminds me of. And there's guys that I don't know if they have his talent. He's so rare talent. I'd say for sure. But there's guys like with similar skills like him, or who Felipe Hergovich, Daniel Dubois, maybe like someone who's like 2/3 as good as Daniel Dubois, who should definitely be like fighting on an undercard, Let's say it's the same weight division. Let's say he's in a welterweight, a 147, right? He fights at, and he's got all of that skill, but he's just never been recognized. And he's been grinding, working, but he never got that recognition, So, like with Conor McGregor, for example, how he got recognized is for years and years actually. John Kavanagh, Conor McGregor's coach, was emailing like the head of the UFC, something like that. One of the heads of UFC, something like that, for years. Like 2 years, 3 years, something like that, and he's always just it was like just always ignored. Never got the recognition. Never got a reply. And then I think it was when Dana White went to Ireland to get an award, and everyone was telling him about Conor McGregor. And during that time, Conor McGregor, I think he had quit, or just before he'd quit, and then he came back because he was like, if I'm not making it to the UFC, what's the point, And then Conor's mum had told John, like, can you go and see him? And they helped him get back. But then Dana White went to Ireland to get an award, basically, and then everyone was telling him about this Conor McGregor guy. Conor McGregor, you got to sign him. You got to get him. He's nuts. He's wild, And then Dana White talked to Lorenzo Fertitta, or something, or like Lorenzo, who's another owner of the UFC, and they said to Lorenzo, like, I don't think I can fight, but if you can even throw a punch, like, he's gonna sell seats, right, 100%, with all the hype behind him, and then sure enough, he meets him, and then the rest is history, right? But, yeah, and he dominated the sport. He dominated the sport. He was a king, and like this time last year, not last year, 10 years ago now, of course a while ago now, he was the king of the UFC, and he's the reason I found out about the UFC, like a lot of people, and then was following that since then with stars like Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman and Islam Makhachev, and but yeah, he was a nobody. He was like this kid with a dream, and look what he accomplished. He became double champion, and then goes and fights Mayweather. He fights Floyd Money Mayweather. Like, what the heck? That was so like if I was the same age I am now, in 2017, I think the McGregor Mayweather fight was, I would be like what? Like, do you think he can like do it? But with his self-belief and everything he's done, everything he accomplished, like you would believe it for sure. So like I know, like, definitely some people believed it, 1,000%. And he went 10 rounds with him, 10 rounds. And I know Mayweather said on a podcast afterwards, like, for the McGregor fight, I didn't really train, which doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter. That's his choice. If you don't want to train against a legendary, very, very dangerous mixed martial arts fighter, that's your choice. All right, you're getting in there with him. You know the consequences. You know what happens. And he goes 10 rounds with Floyd Money Mayweather. Yeah. I think this is a good point to leave it. Yeah. All right. See you in the next one.